The huge crystal room floated in empty space above the quiet planet Kethar. Inside, hundreds of alien beings sat in curved rows. Their skins, scales, shells, and glowing bodies made the place look like a living rainbow. At the center stood High Counselor Vexlor. He was very tall, covered in dark green scales, with 4 strong arms and a long whipping tail. His yellow eyes moved slowly across the room as he spoke in a deep, rough voice. "Today we decide the future of many worlds," Vexlor said. "The species called humans has grown too fast. In only 200 of their years, they went from burning wood to flying between stars. Their numbers increase every day. Their weapons become stronger every month. If we do nothing, they will spread across the galaxy like fire and dry grass. They will take our resources. They will push us out. Some of us will disappear forever." A low sound rose from the seats. Some agreement, some worry, some fear. Many delegates had already seen reports. The reports showed human ships moving faster than anything the older races had built. They showed human colonies appearing on worlds no one wanted before. They showed human soldiers training in ways that looked both simple and deadly. Kevin Lawson sat high up in the visitor area. He wore a plain dark blue suit. His short brown hair was neat. His face stayed calm, but inside his heart beat fast. He was the only human in the whole huge room. The other humans waited far away on Earth or on hidden ships. Kevin had come alone because someone needed to watch and listen. Someone needed to bring the truth home. A delegate from the tall, thin Zinari people stood up. Her name was Lyra Voss. Her silver skin shone under the lights. "We have proof," she said in a clear voice. "Their new engines break the old speed limits. Their population will reach 12 billion in 30 years. Their history shows they fight often and take land when they can. We cannot wait for them to attack first." Kevin wrote quick notes on a small device hidden in his sleeve. He had heard these same words many times in secret meetings. The aliens feared what humans might do. But Kevin knew the real reason was simpler. Humans were new. Humans were different. And the old powers did not like sharing. Next, a delegate from the insect-like Krell stood. His name was Zorak 9. 6 legs clicked on the floor. His voice came out in sharp clicks that the translators turned into words. "The purifier waits. 1 shot. 1 world gone. No pain. No war. Only silence. We used it 3 times before. Each time, the galaxy became safer." Kevin felt cold in his stomach. The purifier was real. Everyone knew the stories. A hidden superweapon built long ago by a race that no longer existed. It could turn a whole planet into dust in minutes. The Council kept it secret. Only the highest members knew where it was hidden. Now they talked about using it on Earth, like it was normal. Vexlor raised 1 clawed hand. "We vote now. Those who say yes to the destruction of Earth, raise your marker." Lights appeared above each seat. Green meant yes, red meant no. Kevin watched the colors spread. Green lights came first from the Vexari seats, then from the Zinari, then from the Krell. One by one, more sections turned green. Some stayed red, a few stayed dark, because those delegates chose not to vote. But most turned green. When the last light appeared, the huge display in the center showed the result. 87% yes. Vexlor nodded slowly. "The decision is made. The purifier will fire in 4 standard days. Earth will cease. The humans will end. No one will speak of this outside this room until it is done." The room became loud with talk. Some delegates looked happy. Some looked sick. A few looked ashamed, but did not speak against the vote. Kevin stood up quietly. He walked to the exit door without hurry. Humans were allowed to come and watch, as long as they stayed silent. He stepped into the long hallway. The walls glowed soft blue. His shoes made almost no sound on the smooth floor. He reached the small human embassy room. It was tiny compared to everything else. Just one desk, one chair, one screen, and a locked door. Kevin sat down and pressed his thumb on the scanner. A hidden panel opened. Inside was a small black box, no bigger than his hand. He opened it. A single red button waited. He took a deep breath, then pressed it. Far away, on a secret base under thick ice on Triton, a signal arrived. Lights turned on. Screens woke up. People in dark uniforms moved fast. They knew what the signal meant. Back on the station, Kevin closed the box and hid it again. He leaned back in the chair and looked at the ceiling. His voice was low, speaking to the empty room. "They voted yes," he said. 4 days. Tell everyone. Tell the fleet. Tell the people. We are not waiting to die. He stood up and walked to the window. Through the thick glass, he could see stars. Somewhere among those stars was Earth. Somewhere among those stars were ships being prepared. Somewhere among those stars were men and women who had spent years building things the Council never imagined. Kevin smiled a small, hard smile. The aliens thought they were ending a problem. They thought 4 days would be enough. They thought humans would never see it coming. They were wrong. Kevin turned away from the window. He had work to do, messages to send, plans to check. 4 days was not much time, but it was enough. Enough for Earth to answer. Enough for the Council to learn what real danger looked like. He opened the door and stepped back into the hallway. Somewhere deep in the station, alarms would soon start. Somewhere in human space, engines would roar to life. Somewhere in the dark, a fleet waited. The vote was over. The war was about to begin. 3 hours after the vote, far below the tall mountains of Colorado, a thick steel door slid open with a low hiss. Cold air rushed out. Inside the deep underground command center, bright white lights came on, row by row. Screens covered the walls. Maps of stars and planets glowed in soft blue and green. People moved quickly, but without panic. They had trained for this moment many times. Fleet Admiral Patricia Moore stood at the head of the long black table. She was 52 years old, with short gray hair and sharp blue eyes that missed nothing. Her dark uniform had 4 silver stars on each shoulder. She looked calm, but her hands rested flat on the table to keep them steady. Around her sat the top leaders of Earth's defense forces: generals, scientists, engineers, and intelligence officers. Everyone important was here. A small screen in the center of the table lit up. It showed Kevin Lawson's face. The image was clear, even though the signal came from deep space. His voice came through the speakers, low and careful. "They voted yes," Kevin said. 87%. The purifier will fire in 4 days. No debate, no second chance. They think we won't know until it's too late. Patricia nodded once. "We know now. Thank you, Kevin. Stay safe. Get out if you can." The screen went dark. Patricia turned to the room. No one spoke for a long moment. Then Dr. Amanda Clark stood up. She was 38, with curly red hair tied back and glasses that sat low on her nose. She wore a simple gray sweater and jeans. Everyone knew her name because she had built many of the new weapons and engines that made Earth strong. Amanda pointed to a large hologram that floated above the table. It showed the Council Station, a giant ring made of crystal and metal, spinning slowly around the planet Cathar. Small red dots marked weak spots, power lines, shield generators, docking bays. "They believe we are still behind them," Amanda said. "They think our fastest ships take weeks to cross systems. They do not know about Project Vanguard. We have been testing the new jump drives for 18 months. They fold space in seconds, not days. We can be inside their defense ring before their alarms finish the first note." Captain Daniel Wright leaned forward. He was 34, tall and thin, with black hair cut very short. His uniform was clean and pressed. He flew fighters when he was younger. Now he commanded the newest ships. His voice was quiet but firm. "How many ships do we need?" Daniel asked. Amanda tapped the hologram. It zoomed in. Lines appeared showing attack paths. 200, she said. All of them. The heavy cruisers for the main strike. The fast raiders to block escape routes. The stealth boats to deliver boarding teams. We hit hard, we hit fast, and we leave before they can call for real help. A general named Robert Hayes spoke next. His voice was rough from years of shouting orders. "And the purifier? If we do not stop it, one shot ends everything." Amanda smiled a little. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had worked on a secret plan for a long time. "We do not just stop it," she said. "We take it. I built a virus package. It is already loaded on Kevin's black box. When he sends the final signal, the virus jumps into their network. It locks every weapon. It turns off shields. It changes the purifier's target codes. Instead of Earth, it will point at their own station core. One wrong move, and they blow themselves up." The room stayed quiet. Everyone understood. This was not defense. This was a warning to the whole galaxy. Touch Earth, and you pay a high price. Patricia looked around the table. She saw no fear, only focus, only readiness. "Daniel," she said, "the fleet is yours. Launch window opens in 6 hours. Get your ships to the Neptune shadow point. Stay dark. No mistakes." Daniel stood straight. "Yes, Admiral." "Amanda," Patricia continued, "your virus must be perfect. No second chances. If it fails, we lose the station and maybe the war before it starts." Amanda pushed her glasses up. "It will work. We tested it on captured alien drones. It eats their systems like fire eats paper." Patricia turned to the rest of the room. "Everyone else, your jobs stay the same. Keep Earth running, keep the people calm. No panic, no leaks. Families do not need to know yet. When it is over, they will see the news. They will see we are still here." She paused. Her eyes moved over every face. "We did not ask for this fight," she said. "They chose it. They voted to end us. Now we answer. Not with anger, with strength, with proof that humans do not break easy." People nodded. Some smiled small, tight smiles. Others checked their screens or spoke quietly into headsets. The room filled with soft sounds, tapping keys, low voices, the hum of machines. Daniel walked to a side door. He stopped and looked back at Patricia. "Admiral," he said, "when we come home, what do we tell them?" Patricia looked at him for a long second. "Tell them the truth," she said. "We were attacked, we fought back, we won, and next time, no one will dare vote against us." Daniel gave a sharp nod and left. The door closed behind him. Amanda stayed a moment longer. She walked to Patricia and spoke softly. "You okay?" Amanda asked. Patricia let out a slow breath. "I will be when our ships jump back with everyone alive." Amanda put a hand on Patricia's arm for a second. Then she turned and walked to her station. Screens lit up around her. She started final checks on the virus. Outside the command center, deep tunnels led to huge hangars. Lights came on. Engines warned. Ships that looked like black arrows waited in rows. Crews climbed ladders. Pilots checked controls. Marines loaded rifles and armor. In 6 hours, 200 ships would disappear from human space. In 6 hours and a few minutes, they would appear inside the most powerful station in the galaxy. The Council thought 4 days was plenty of time. They thought Earth would never fight back so soon. They thought humans were weak because they were young. In 6 hours, the Council would learn the truth. Humans were young, but they were fast, they were smart, and when pushed, they were very, very dangerous. The countdown started. Deep under the mountains, the lights stayed bright. Screens glowed. Voices stayed low. And Earth prepared to show the stars what real survival looked like. The dark side of Neptune gave perfect cover. No light reached there from the distant sun. No sensors swept that cold, empty space often. 200 human ships waited in perfect silence. Engines stayed cold. Power levels dropped so low that even the best alien scanners would see only dust and ice. The fleet looked like ghosts among the shadows. On the bridge of the lead cruiser, Liberty's Edge, Captain Daniel Wright stood with his hands behind his back. He watched the main screen. A soft green countdown ticked down in the corner. 00459, 00458. The numbers moved slow and steady. Around him, the bridge crew sat quiet. No chatter, no jokes. Everyone knew what came next. Daniel's voice broke the silence. All ships, status check. Voices answered one after another from different sections of the fleet. Stealth holding. Weapons hot on standby. Jump coils charged. Boarding teams ready. Simple words, clear reports. No fear showed in any voice. Daniel looked at his executive officer, Lieutenant Maria Lopez. She gave him a small nod. Her dark eyes were calm. She had flown with him for 6 years. They trusted each other completely. Time, Daniel said. The countdown hit 0. Jump. Space folded like paper. A bright flash filled every screen for half a second. Then the stars changed. The huge crystal ring of the Council Station appeared right in front of them. They had jumped inside the defense perimeter, inside the shields, inside the place no enemy had ever reached before. Alarms screamed across the station. Red lights flashed in every corridor. Alien voices shouted in panic over open channels. Intruders, human signatures, all defenses activate. But the human fleet moved faster than thought. The first wave of cruisers fired disabling shots. Thin blue beams cut through alien shields like knives through cloth. Engines died. Weapons went dark. Ships drifted helpless. No explosions, no dead crews. Just silence and floating metal. Small stealth boats slipped closer. They opened bays. Black pods shot out like arrows. Each pod carried 8 Marines in heavy armor. The pods hit the station hull and burned small holes with plasma cutters. Marines poured inside. Daniel led the first boarding team. He wore black combat armor with the Earth emblem on the chest. His rifle stayed low, but ready. Behind him came 10 men and women. They moved fast down a wide corridor. Lights flickered as Amanda's virus started its work. Power flickered. Doors locked open. Security cameras turned blind. Left turn, Daniel said into his helmet mic. Command deck is 3 levels up. They ran. Alien security guards appeared around a corner. Tall Vexari with energy spears. The humans did not slow. Precise shots dropped the guards before they could raise weapons. No waste, no anger, just clean work. Back on Liberty's Edge, Lieutenant Maria watched the feeds. Boarding teams report contact. Light resistance, moving to core. On the station, High Counselor Vexlor stood in the main chamber. His forearms shook with rage. Screens around him showed human ships everywhere. His own fleet burned in neat lines. No chance to fight back. How? He roared. How did they get inside? A trembling aide answered. Unknown jump technology, High One. Their drive, they broke every known limit. Vexlor slammed a fist on the podium. Activate the purifier. Target Earth now. The aide tapped controls. Nothing happened. Screens stayed dark. Red error messages flashed. System locked. Access denied. Vexlor turned. His yellow eyes grew wide. What is this? In a small server room deep in the station, Amanda's virus spread like fast poison. It ate code. It changed passwords. It turned weapons against their owners. The purifier console blinked. New coordinates appeared. Not Earth. The station's own power core. One shot would end the council forever. Marines reached the outer doors of the main chamber. Explosive charges set. A muffled boom. The heavy doors blew inward. Smoke rolled across the floor. Daniel stepped through first. His team fanned out. Rifles up. No one fired yet. The delegates froze in their seats. Some stood. Some hid behind consoles. Vexlor stayed tall at the center podium. His tail lashed hard. Daniel walked forward slow. His boots made soft thuds on the crystal floor. He stopped 10 steps away. "You voted to destroy my world," Daniel said. His voice carried clear through the room. 4 billion lives. You called it necessary. You called it safe. Vexlor opened his mouth. Daniel raised one hand. "Do not speak," Daniel said. "Listen." Behind Daniel, more Marines moved to the purifier control station. They plugged in small black devices. Amanda's final commands raced through the lines. The huge weapon outside shifted on its mount. Red targeting lines appeared on every screen in the chamber. They pointed straight at the heart of the station. Vexlor looked up. His scales paled. You turned it on us." Daniel nodded once. "We turned it on the threat. The threat was you." Outside, the human fleet held position. Alien counterattacks came in waves. Small fighters, frigates. Nothing lasted long. Human gunners picked targets with calm precision. Ships died fast and quiet. No human ship took serious damage. The fight was one-sided from the first second. In the chamber, a Zanari delegate stood on shaky legs. Her silver skin looked dull now. "Please," she said, "we can talk. We can stop this." Daniel looked at her. "You had your talk. You had your vote. Now we have ours." He turned to his team. "Secure the controls. Broadcast on all channels." One Marine tapped a console. Every screen in the station, every ship nearby, every world in range, lit up with the same message. A simple human voice read the words slow and clear. "This is Earth. The Council voted to end us. We did not agree. We are here. We are alive. The Purifier now answers to us. Any attack on Earth or human worlds will bring the same answer. Choose peace or choose silence." The broadcast repeated in every major language the Council used. Vexlor sank to his knees. His arms dropped. The fight left him. Daniel lowered his rifle a little. "Your station is ours now. Your weapon is ours. Your council is over." He looked around the room at the shocked faces. "Tell your people," Daniel said. "Tell them what happens when you vote to erase a species that never asked for war." He turned and walked back toward the broken doors. His team followed. They left the delegates sitting in silence. Outside, the fleet waited. Engines hummed low. Ready to leave, ready to go home. The galaxy watched. The old powers shook. Smoke still hung thick in the air of the main council chamber. Small pieces of metal and crystal lay scattered on the smooth floor, where the doors had blown open. The huge round room felt smaller now. The bright lights flickered once or twice, as the virus kept eating deeper into the station's systems. Delegates sat frozen in their curved seats. Some held their heads low. Others stared with wide eyes at the human Marines who stood around the edges of the room. High Counselor Vexlor stayed on his feet at first. His long tail moved slowly from side to side. His 4 arms hung loose at his sides. The dark green scales on his face looked dull under the changing lights. He looked at Captain Daniel Wright, standing 10 steps away. Daniel's black armor had small marks from the fight in the corridors, but he stood straight and calm. His rifle pointed down at the floor. He did not need to raise it anymore. Vexlor spoke first. His voice came out rough and loud. "You break every law of the Council. You invade our home. You threaten us with our own weapon. This is madness. You will bring war on every world." Daniel answered without raising his voice. "You voted to kill my home. 4 billion people, children, families, cities full of life. You called it one clean shot. You said it would make the galaxy safe. Now you talk about laws?" Vexlor opened his mouth again, but no words came. He looked up at the big screens that circled the chamber high on the walls. Every screen showed the same thing. The purifier weapon outside the station had turned. Its long barrel pointed straight at the center of the ring. Red lines glowed on the display. Target lock, station core, one command, and the whole place would turn to dust and light. A small Zanari delegate stood up slowly. Her name was Lyra Voss. Her silver skin looked almost gray now. She spoke in a soft voice that shook a little. "We can undo this. We can send a message. Cancel the order. Let us live. Let us talk." Daniel turned his head toward her. "You had days to talk. You had weeks. You had years to watch us and decide we were not a threat. Instead, you chose silence and a big gun. Now the gun points the other way." Marines moved behind the control podium, 2 of them carrying small cases. They opened them and took out thin black cables. They plugged the cables into the main console. Small screens on the cases lit up green. Amanda's last commands went through. The purifier's safety locks clicked off one by one. A low hum started somewhere deep in the station. The weapon was awake and ready. Vexlor took one step forward. His claws scraped the floor. "If you fire that thing, you'll kill thousands. Not just us. Workers, engineers, families who live here. Children sleep in the lower levels. You would murder them to make a point?" Daniel looked straight into Vexlor's yellow eyes. "We do not want to fire it. We want you to understand what you almost did. You voted for Earth to die. No warning, no chance to speak, no mercy. Now you feel what that vote really means." The room stayed quiet, except for the soft hum of machines and the breathing of many scared beings. A Krell delegate clicked his mandibles fast. His translator spoke in a shaky voice. "What do you want? Name your terms. We will listen." Daniel waited a moment. He looked around the chamber at the faces. Tall ones, short ones, scaled, smooth, glowing. All of them watched him now. No one moved to fight. No one called for guards. The fight had left them when the first human boots stepped inside. "We want one thing," Daniel said. "The council ends today. No more votes on who lives and who dies. No more hidden weapons. No more secret plans to erase whole worlds. From now on, if any species wants to talk to Earth, they talk to us directly. Trade, travel, peace, war, all on equal terms. And if anyone tries this again," he looked up at the screens, "we keep the purifier. We keep the codes. We keep the memory." Lyra Voss sat down slowly. Her thin shoulders dropped. "You ask us to give up power we held for thousands of years." Daniel shook his head. "We ask you to stop using power like a club. Earth never asked to rule anyone. We asked to be left alone. You said no. Now we say no to you." Vexlor looked at the other delegates. Some nodded slowly. Some looked away. One by one they raised empty hands or lowered heads, the old sign of surrender across many species. Vexlor knelt. His knees hit the floor with a heavy sound. His forearms rose high. "We yield," he said. His voice sounded small for the first time. "The council is broken. Do what you will." Daniel gave a short nod to his team. One Marine stepped to the podium. He pressed a button. The broadcast started again. This time the message was shorter. "This is Earth. The council has ended. The purifier stays under our control until trust is earned. No more votes against any world without open talk. Humans stand. We do not forget. We do not forgive easy. But we do not kill for sport. Choose your next step carefully." The words went out to every ship, every station, every world that could hear. Planets far away saw the feed. Leaders watched in silence. Traders stopped their deals. Armies held their breath. In the chamber, Daniel turned to his Marines. "Secure the control room. No one touches the console without my word. Get the data cores. Copy everything. Leave nothing behind." The team moved fast. They worked with quiet efficiency. Cables snaked across the floor. Small drives hummed as they pulled years of council secrets. He stopped and looked back one last time. Vexlor still knelt. The others sat like statues. The room that once felt so powerful now felt empty. "You signed your own death warrant when you voted," Daniel said. "But we chose life instead of revenge. Remember that." He stepped through the smoke and into the corridor. His team followed. Behind them, the hum of the purifier stayed steady. A reminder, a warning, a promise. Outside, the human fleet waited, engines ready. No losses, no damage worth mentioning. The alien ships drifted quiet. Their crews watched through windows as the small black pods pulled back to the cruisers. On Liberty's edge, Lieutenant Maria Lopez stood on the bridge. She watched the last Marine team return. The bay doors closed. She looked at the main screen. The Council station spun slow, lights dimmed in sections as power failed. "Fleet reports ready to jump," she said. Daniel's voice came over the comm from the lead pod bay. "All ships, form up, we go home." Space folded again. Bright flash. Stars changed. The Council station disappeared behind them. Ahead lay the long road back to Earth. In the quiet after the jump, Daniel sat in his chair on the bridge. He looked at the stars. He thought about the faces in that chamber. He thought about the vote. He thought about home. The galaxy had changed in one day. Old rules were gone. New rules started now. And at the center of it all stood Earth. Not broken, not afraid, stronger than before. The fleet jumped back into human space just outside the orbit of Mars. 200 ships appeared in perfect formation, like dark arrows lined up against the red planet. No damage showed on any hull. No lights blinked warning red. Engines purred low and steady. The crews inside stayed quiet for a long minute, letting the reality sink in. They had gone in, they had won, they had come home. On the bridge of Liberty's edge, Captain Daniel Wright stood with his hands on the rail. He looked at the main screen. Earth filled half the view now. Blue oceans, white clouds, green and brown land. Home, still there, still whole. He let out a slow breath he did not know he had been holding. Lieutenant Maria Lopez stood next to him. She smiled a small, tired smile. "We did it," she said softly. Daniel nodded. "We did." He turned to the comm officer. "Open a channel to Fleet Command. Admiral Moore first, then broadcast wide. Everyone hears this." The officer tapped keys. A screen lit up. Fleet Admiral Patricia Moore appeared. Her face looked the same as always, calm, sharp, strong. But her eyes showed something new, relief. "Report," she said. Daniel stood straight. "Mission complete, Admiral. Council station secured. Purifier under our control. No human losses. Minimal resistance after the first wave. The Council has stood down. They surrendered the structure. We have full data cores and weapon codes. We are home." Patricia closed her eyes for 2 seconds. When she opened them again, she looked younger somehow. "Good work, Captain. All of you. Stand by for landing orders. Earth is waiting." The screen switched. The broadcast went live. Every city on Earth, every ship in the fleet, every colony outpost received the same feed. Daniel's face appeared on screens big and small. "This is Captain Daniel Wright, of Liberty's Edge," he began. His voice stayed even and clear. 4 days ago, the Galactic Council voted to destroy Earth. They planned to use a weapon called the Purifier. They thought we would never know. They thought we would never fight back. They were wrong. He paused. The words went out to billions. We jumped inside their station. We took their weapon. We turned it on them. The Council is finished. No more secret votes. No more hidden threats. Earth stands, we stand together, and we will not forget what they tried to do. He looked straight into the camera. To the people of Earth, you are safe. Your children will wake up tomorrow under the same sky. To the galaxy, we did not want this fight. You started it. We ended it. If you want peace, come talk. If you want war, you know where we are, and you know what we can do. The broadcast ended. For a moment, silence covered the bridge. Then cheers broke out. Not loud at first, then louder. Crew members hugged. Some wiped tears. Others laughed like they had not laughed in years. On Earth, the same thing happened everywhere. In New York, people poured into the streets at night. Lights came on in every window. Horns honked. Voices shouted joy. In Tokyo, crowds gathered under bright screens. They clapped and waved flags. In Nairobi, families sat outside under stars and sang old songs. In small towns and big cities, the same feeling spread. We are still here. Deep under Colorado, in the command center, Patricia Moore watched the reports come in. Cheers echoed through the halls. Scientists hugged. Soldiers shook hands. Dr. Amanda Clark sat at her station with her head in her hands. She laughed quietly. "It worked," she whispered. "It really worked." Patricia walked over and put a hand on Amanda's shoulder. "You made it work. That virus, those jump drives, you gave us the edge." Her glasses were foggy. "We all did. Kevin out there, Daniel in the lead, everyone." Patricia nodded. She looked at the big map on the wall. Red dots that once showed threats now blinked green. Safe, clear. Hours later, the fleet began landing. Ships touched down on wide fields in North America, Asia, Africa, Europe, Australia. Crews stepped out into warm air or cool night. Families waited behind lines. Children ran forward. Wives and husbands met in tight hugs. Parents lifted sons and daughters high. Tears mixed with smiles. Daniel stepped off Liberty's edge last. He carried his helmet under one arm. His armor stayed on. A small group waited for him. His wife, Lisa, and their 2 boys, ages 8 and 5. Lisa held the younger one on her hip. The older boy waved both arms. Daniel walked straight to them. He dropped to one knee. The boys ran into his arms. Lisa knelt too. They held each other for a long time. No words, just breathing, just being there. When he stood again, Lisa looked at him. "Is it really over?" Daniel touched her cheek. "For now. We made sure it stays over for a long time." Far away, on the broken council station, High Counselor Vexlor sat alone in the empty chamber. Lights stayed low. Most delegates had left on small shuttles. The purifier still pointed at the core. No one dared move it. Vexlor looked at the dark screens. He thought about the vote. He thought about the fear that made him raise his marker green. He thought about the human who stood in front of him and spoke without anger, only truth. He lowered his head. "We signed our own death warrant," he said to the empty room, "and they chose not to cash it." Outside the station, a few alien ships still drifted. Their crews watched the human fleet leave. Words like "do not provoke," and "new power," and "equal terms now." On Earth, the sun rose over the Pacific. People went to work. Children went to school. Shops opened. Life moved on. But something felt different. People walked a little taller. They looked at the sky a little longer. They knew the stars watched back now. And the stars knew better than to threaten again. Weeks passed. Messages came from many worlds. Some offered trade. Some asked for talks. Some just said sorry and careful words. Earth answered each one the same way. We listen. We talk. But we remember. In a quiet room under the mountains, Patricia Moore sat with Amanda Clark and Daniel Wright. They drank coffee from plain mugs. No uniforms today, just people. Patricia looked at them both. "What now?" she asked. Daniel smiled a little. "We build. We explore. We stay ready. But mostly, we live." Amanda nodded. "And we make sure no one ever votes like that again." Patricia raised her mug. "To Earth." They touched mugs. To Earth. Outside, the world turned. The stars stayed bright. And somewhere in the deep black, a new story began. Not of fear, not of hiding, of strength, of humans who answered when the galaxy tried to erase them.